demo, we are going to learn how we can go ahead and enable the backup for Azure VM and how we can restore a VM and how we can go ahead and create a recovery vault. So these are the three things I will be going to cover in this demo. So if you see, I have already logged in on my Azure subscription with my iUser. So first of all, let's go ahead and create the recovery vault. So to create the recovery vault, either I can go ahead and click here. From here, I can go ahead and create the recovery vault, or what I can do, I can go into the resource group in which I want to create the recovery vault, and from there I can go ahead and create the recovery vault as well. Now, in my case, I have a two VMs, so my VM01 is already backed up with the existing recovery vault. So uh, I'm going to plan the backup for VM02. So for that, first of all, what we need to do, we need to create a recovery vault in the center US, since that's the region specific. So we need to have the recovery vault in the center US if we want to take the backup of VM02, because that VM is also in the center US. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and create the recovery vault. Click a new resource. I can type backup and recovery. Okay. Just oh yeah, backup and site recovery. And this is from where I can go ahead and create the backup vault. I need to just define the resource group where I want to create it, and then I need to select the location. In my case, it's going to be center US. Then define the backup vault name. So in my case, I'm doing it backup 01, and it's going to validate it, and that's it. I can go ahead and create it. Now, one important thing is here, this backup vault can also use for the site recovery, where we can replicate our VM for the one region to the another region for BCTR. So that's something which I'm going to cover in our future videos. So we'll have a separate video for that specific topic where I can help you to understand how we can create the BCDR with the Azure Site Recovery, or how we can replicate the VM between the Azure regions. So in my case, the recovery vault has been created. So I can go ahead and go into the recovery vaults. Okay, so as of now, I don't see it. So let me go ahead and refresh it once. Okay, it's not there, but it's showing it has been already done. Just give it a few seconds, and yep, now we can see. So this is here in a backup 01. If we go into the backup 01, we can see a plenty of options on the overview page. We can see the resource detail. We can see backups. In the backups, we can see how many backups we have, how many pre-checks has been failed or in the critical warning, what are the backup job status is, how many backup items we have, or how many backups storage we have used. And then we do have a site recovery options for the BCDR, which will not be going to cover in today's videos. We'll be going to cover it in our further videos. And in this case, if we go down, we would be able to see how many we have two options, backup items and recovery a replicated item. So we'll be going to focus on backup. So when we click on the backup, we'll see that we have a plenty of options to take the backup. Like as I've told you, we can take the backup of SAP, HANA, SQL, Azure file, DPM, which can allow us to take the backup from the on-premise. Then we have a backup server, we have a backup agent, we have the virtual machine. So in this case, in my case, since I'm going to protect the VM02, which is in the center US, so I'm going to select the virtual machine backup, and then I can go ahead and click on add. I can select the workload where it is running. So in my case, it's running on Azure. Then we do have a plenty of options here. I'm going with the Azure virtual machine and click on backup. Now, once you click on backup, you have further options where you can go ahead and define your policies for the backup. So in the policies, you do have a plenty of options like what is the backup schedule is going to be, and what is the retention range is going to be. So you do have a four retention range, like you can retain the daily backup, you can retain the weekly, you can retain the monthly, and then you can retain the yearly backups as well. So you just need to click on here and you need to configure this, and that's it. You can configure the retention policies according to your business requirement, like for how many days, on which date, or for which date, and for how many days you want to keep the backups for weekly, monthly, and yearly. That's something you can do. And then we have a one instant recovery option, which is a very important because initially when this option was not there, what exactly is problem is, let's say if we are taking a backup of a VM which have multiple disk with the higher size and they are highly consumed, so it's take a lot of time to restore it from the Azure Recovery Vault storage. So what Microsoft did, Microsoft have given us the options to instant restore. In this case, what happened whenever the backup has been taken, so let's say not the whenever, actually, sorry for that. So if, let's take an example, you have taken a backup today, that is going to be in the two storage, that's going to be in the cache, and that's going to be in the backend storage as well. So what happen when you do a recovery from the instant recovery uh, cache, the backup is basically recover very fast. So we can keep a backup for maximum 5 days uh, in the instant recovery cache or as instant recovery snapshot. So in my case, I'm going to do it on with two. One important thing, it's going to charge you extra because it's keeping your backup on two locations. So if you doing it for 2 days, then it's going to charge you for 2 days extra. If you're doing it for 5 days, it's going to be charged for you to 5 days, and the charges will be based on the how much storage you have consumed. So let's give a name of this policy. Demo backup. Sorry, backup policy. That's it, and click on OK. Now once done, it's going to create this policy, and then from there I can go ahead and add the virtual machine. So in my case, I'm going to take the backup of VM02, click on OK, and then we have our options. If we are not selecting this option, it means it's going to take backup of all the disk which has been attached to this VM. But if we select this one, this is only going to uh, take the backup of the OS disk. In my case, I only have a OS disk, so if I select or unselect this option, it doesn't going to make any uh, change. So I just need to click on enable backup. Once I do that, it's going to initialize the deployment, and then it's going to enable the backup extension on the VM so that it can take the backup of the VM. So that's how you can go ahead and enable the backup for a Azure VM. Now, how you can restore it? So I have a one another recovery vault running in the East US, which already have a backups for the VM. So I will be going to use that to show you how you can restore the backup. Now, let's keep this as it is, and we'll monitor it later on as well. So go back, and we'll be going to. I have a one more recovery vault running in the East US. So this is the one. And if you go into the backups, you would see I have a one VM protected here, and this already have a backup in the backend storage. Now, if I go to the backup items, you would see it's going to be show account one for Azure VM, right? And then if I go here, I can see what is the last recovery source point I have for this VM. If I click on here, I do have plenty of options to for restore the VM, then file recovery, and then stop the backup. So file recovery is a very important. If uh, you have a certain file which you want to restore it, or if there is any few files which has been corrupted, so in this case you don't need to restore the complete VM. You can simply click on file recovery. You just need to download the script. You need to select the recovery point, which recovery from which recovery point you want to restore the file. You need to download this one. You will be get the password to download this one, and then as soon as the script is run, the volumes basically which has been part of the backup will be get mounted, and from there you can copy your files. Now, one important thing, you can restore a file which is not larger than 10 GB. If there is any file which is larger than 10 GB, to restore that, you need to restore the complete VM, or you need to restore the disk. And then you would be charged, so data rate will be charged for 1 GB per hour, and you will not be charged for this specifically thing because it is just a restore. So that's how you can do it. So you just need to click on download executable. As soon as you do that, you will be going to get the file downloaded here, and then you will be get a password to run that file. So it's going to take a few minutes to download that. Okay, so it's still generating the file. So let's give it a few more seconds here, and let's see if that's, yep, the script is ready. I can go ahead and download it. So if you see, this is the exe file. So if I go to show all, you will see this is the exe file. So this is for Windows. So I would not be able to run this on my system since I'm using the Mac, but it's a very simple. You just need to run this exe file. It will be get automatically executed normal as a software which you install, and then it will be going to ask you for the password. So you just need to copy this password from here, which is a long password with the few encoded word, and then you can basically click on copy this password, and then you can mount it on the VM. As soon as you mount it, you can start copying your VM. And another thing is, once this disks has been mounted on your system, that will be going to be remain for 12 hour maximum, and after that, that will be automatically going to unmount. But in case of your work has been completed in next 2 hours or 3 hours, what you can do, you can simply click on unmount disk. It's going to be take a few minutes, and all the disk which has been attached to your machine or your server will be automatically get mounted, unmounted from the server. So that's how you can restore the file from a backup. And you can see the unmount is successfully completed. Now let's go back and let's try to restore the VM. So to restore the VM, we have two options. Either we can restore a VM, or either we can restore the disks as well. Now there's a two cases where we need to select how we need to perform a restore. So let's say we have a VM that have a data disk, but somehow the data in the which is in the data disk is got corrupted. So what we can do, instead of restoring a complete VM, we can restore the disk, and then we can replace the disk for the data which is got corrupted. Okay, that is a one case where we need to restore the disk. Now second case is, let's say we have a VM and the OS disk or the OS in which that VM is got corrupted. So in that case, what we can do, we have a two option. Either we can restore that OS disk and then swap that disk on the VM. Second, we can restore the complete VM. So we can restore the complete VM. So let's say another example, let's say you have a ransomware attack on the VM. So if you had a ransomware attack, there is no sense of restoring a VM. So what you can do, you can completely restore the VM with all data disk and the OS disk. So here are the scenario of restoring a VM. So in my case, I just need to click, I'm just restoring a VM which has been taken backup in today, sorry, yesterday and day after that. Now, uh, I just need to click on restore a VM, and I need to select the restore point which I want to recover. So I'm just taking this one and click on OK. And then I'm going to get the option like what exactly I want to do. I want to create a new, or I want to replace the existing. So I am going to create a new. I'm not going to replace the existing one. And then I have a restore type. What exactly the restore going to be? Either I want to restore the disk, and if I want to restore the disk, that's it. I need to select the storage where I want to restore it and click on restore, and then the disk will be get restored. But in my case, I'm just want to restore a VM. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new VM. So let's go ahead and create a new VM. I'll have one. It's going to be in this resource group. Then I need to select the network. I need to select the subnet in which I want to register. In my case, I only have a one with the default, so I'm selecting that. And then I need to select the storage account. So storage account is basically is important because my disk is using, sorry, my VM is using a managed disk. Then why still I need the storage account here? That's important question here, because uh, when you're restoring a VM, there can be a two purpose. If you are restoring just to check your backup, then managed disk can cause you the extra cost because managed disk will be charged you for based on the what you have provision. But so that's the one thing. Now another thing, you might be restoring that backup to replace your existing VM. So if you click on here or replace with the existing VM, then you need to also select the storage account and this will be get replaced. Now storage account is here to just save your cost so that whenever you're restoring a VM or restoring a disk, that doesn't create it as a managed disk, that always create it as an unmanaged disk so that you can save your cost from there. Now in my case, let's go back and select the create new option. So that's all options I need to select and then click on restore. As soon as I click on restore, it's going to validate the my deployment or my restore trigger, and then in a backend it's going to run a job for restoring a VM. Now how I can see what exactly happening with my job, so I need to go back to the recovery vault and I need to go down, and in the monitoring I can see here is the option called backup jobs, and in that option I can see what exactly is happening with my restore job which I have recently submitted. So it's just going to wait. We just need to wait for a few seconds here because it's still loading in the backend. So just give it a few seconds. Okay, let's go ahead and yep. Now you can see it's in a progress. So if I want to see the detail, I can go ahead and click on view detail. And in the view detail, I would be able to see the detailed summary of the restore job. So we just need to give it a few seconds. Looks like somehow my internet is working a little slow. So you can see the 5% job is already completed and the data has been transferred. So you can see how fast this is because this restore has been happened from instant recovery snapshot which I had in the recovery vault, and it just started creating the VM as well. So if I click on refresh, so you would see it's saying that it's a 10-minute remaining for this one, and as soon as this has been completed, I would be able to see a new VM is being created. Now let's go back and see if we can see the VM is there or it's in there. So you can see I have another VM running which is in the VM03, but that is in the recovery vault. It's still showing in the restore status. It's in creating a VM, but here I can see VM is running, but this is not fully restored. So we need to wait to get job completed, and once that job is completed, we can start working on this VM. So we can go back in the recovery vault and we can see this is the recovery vault in which we have restored the VM. So we need to go in the backup job. Yep, you can see our operation has been successfully completed and we are able to restore the VM in the 2 minutes. So that's how you can restore a VM, and with instance recovery, this is how fast you can restore a VM. So you can see the VM has successfully created as well, and all the jobs or all the tasks has been completed. Now I can go ahead and use my VM and I can see what exactly is in this VM, and I can compare the backup as well, or I can use it as a production as well. And if I go here in the disk, so you would be see the disk has been here, and this is successful. This is a premium disk because I'm using a premium disk with my existing VM which I have taken as a backup. So it's restore the VM as a it's restore the VM with the managed disk with the premium SKU. Uh, so this is how you can restore a VM backup. Now you do have a plenty of other options to restore the or create the backup like a file, SAP, and SQL as well. That's something I would not be able to show you in this demo because in that case the video is going to be a little lengthy. So now let's see what's happened with the backup status which we have enabled. So if we go down and if we go to the backup jobs, and I'm in the backup Alif demo backup one recovery vault in which we have enabled the backup of VM02. I think this is not the correct one. Oh yeah, sorry, my bad. So the backup vault in which we have enabled the backup is Alif Demo backup 01. So if we go here, we would be able to see something. Yep, we can see we have a one backup item here. And if I go down and then go to the backup jobs, I would be able to see what exactly happening with the configuring backup job. So if you see, the backup has been successfully completed here. And if I go to the detail, I can see the complete summary, what exactly happened here. So you can see the backup policy has been assigned to this VM and this has been assigned to this VM. Now let's go back and go back to the backup items. I can see the backup item one for Azure Virtual Machine. I would be able to see the pre-checks is completed. It's showing green and the last backup showing as a warning because there is a no initial backup has been run for this VM. So we have a two option. Either we can go ahead and run it now. We can run a backup now. Or second option is we can wait for policies to get triggered, and as soon as the time is the policy will be automatically triggered when we have on the time when for which we have defined the backup and on what time we have defined the VM backup. So it's just taking a little time. Yep. Now if you see, I have options to create the backup now. So I can go ahead and create the backup, and the that backup can be retained for longer. I can specify the backup for how many days I want to retain or till what date I want to retain. So I'm selecting the default, click on OK, and that's it. So as soon as you uh, trigger the backup now and submit it for the backup, in the backup jobs, you would be able to see there's a one more job is the running. So you can see the backup is in progress. And if you go into the detail, you would be able to see what is happening with my other task which is associated with this deployment. So first it's going to take a snapshot and then it's going to transfer it to the world. So both of things has been not started yet. So we can refresh and then the things has been started. Okay, so once the backup is completed, it's the same way this is showing you as a complete, and from there we can go ahead and restore the VM or restore the disks whenever we have required. Now another thing is what changes is going to be happen on my VM when we are going to enable the backup. So recently I have enabled the backup on VM02. If I go here, if I go to the extension and the application, normally it's going to be show us the backup agent or backup extension which is required there to enable the backup. But in my case, I don't know, it's not showing here, but usually it's show here. So let's check with the VM02. Okay, it's not showing here as well, but usually it's enable extension on this VM for taking the backup, or you can see it's already have the VM agent running here. So this agent is used for taking a backup, but in this case it's not showing on the extension. But when we go on the overview of the VM, we can see it's have a VM agent already running. So that's how it's take the backup of the VM to the recovery vault. So this VM agent is a very important part or very important component to enable the backup for the Azure VM. Well, that's what I have for you in the demo. I hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe, or you can reach us whenever you need help our help to enable the cloud for your organization, or if you want to migrate the workload to the Azure, or if you need our help to enable the cloud for your organization. That's Thank you.